confused, namaskar. Not be confused with total inactivity. So we are going to, I was telling you yesterday, like we have to connect this line. The what I want should not be confused with the previous line, that is doing nothing. Doing nothing means the poet says that does not advocate that we should not do anything. Doing nothing does not mean that we should sit idle, ideally, and we should be like a lazy lad and we should not do anything. It's not like that. Doing nothing means we should not do anything destructive. Destructive activities like war, fine. So we should do something constructive. So now what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Now the poet is clarifying this line. Poet says that I do not mean that you people should do nothing. You should become totally inactive, means simply sleeping for the whole day like a lazy lad, not doing anything. Fine, not doing anything creative. So what I want should not be confused. There should not be any confusion among the readers, among the people, that what I want is not total inactivity. Like we should not be inactive. We should do something constructive, right? Now, life is what it is about. There is a colon after that, you can see in this line, right? So life is what it is about. The poet says that what is life? Now he is going to tell us like what we are supposed to do when we are on this earth. What is life? I want no truck with the death. So here, no truck does not mean, students, please pay attention carefully, listen to me. I want no truck. No truck does not mean, like, for example, as you may have seen that the martyrs or the soldiers, those who are, who dies on the war front. So like their dead bodies, they are brought into the trucks to their respective villages. These days you may have seen also on the television. Fine. The dead bodies are there on the trucks, and the trucks are also fully decorated. So it's not that. Here it does not mean those trucks. What he says is, I want no truck means I want no association with the death. I want no association with the death means I do not want that we should do any such activity which will lead into death. Fine. So I do not want any such activity which will lead to death of innocent people. Now, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, if we were not so single-minded means focused. If we are not so much focused about keeping our lives moving means, like, for example, what we are doing. For example, you are students. What is your responsibility at this age? At this age, you are supposed to study, fine, and become something and make a good career, fine. But what the parents are doing at this time, the parents are earning money so that the students, their kids, should have a better standard of living, fine, to provide good education, to provide good standard of living and all these things to the kids. So what the parents are busy in, or you can say the parents are single-minded, means they are focused in earning the money. Fine. So single-minded means focus. If we are not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, so like we are single-minded, we are busy in doing our responsibilities, we are earning money. So what is it helping us? It is letting our lives to move on, because the money, the salary that we are getting, that is helping us in moving our life. Fine, we are moving, we are getting the wages for the works that we are doing. So now, if we were not so single-minded, for example, the poet says that for one day at least, if we are not doing our task, we are sitting idle and we are, busy in meditation, thinking about like what is happening in the society, what we are doing. So then we would realize the importance. That is, we should do something constructive for the society instead of involving ourselves in the destructive activities. And now, and for once could do nothing, as I have just told you, once could do nothing means on one day, at least on the surface of the earth, at least for a while, for once we should do nothing. We should sit idle at least and relax and introspect, self-introspection, thinking, meditation is needed. And when we would be able to understand ourselves, then what will happen? We'll be able to understand the other person also. And in this manner, mutual understanding will develop among human beings, right? So this is the basic mantra of this lesson. That is, first is self-introspection, and then that will help in developing mutual understanding. So now, for once could do nothing, and perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves. Now see, if once could do nothing, if for one day we are not going to do anything, then what will happen? Perhaps a huge silence will be there. Now, how come huge silence will be there? You can imagine, like on the very first line, the poet says that I'll be counting up to 12 and you all are supposed to be quiet. Fine, don't speak any language. Everybody is supposed to be quiet. So just imagine, like for example, like on the world, like on the surface of this earth, everybody is on the silent mode. Nobody is speaking anything. Then what will happen? There will be huge silence. Is it clear? And a very important thing, that in this line, the literary device is once again pun, P-U-N. As I told you yesterday also, pun means the coinage words. The word, a single word has two different meanings. And here, huge silence, it has huge. This word is also like the literary device here is pun. And like what are the two meaning? One is huge silence, means like, for example, thousands, n number of people on this whole world, they would be observing peace, then the silence will be huge. And yet then what will happen? The effect of this silence, this meditation will also be huge. For example, like what is the total population of this world? So everybody is busy in meditation. So this means the silence is there. And out of those, for example, 1,000 people, at least 100 people are affected. 100 people are affected, that they should, and they would understand the importance of meditation. They would understand the importance of self-introspection, and they would understand the importance of mutual understanding. Then what will happen? This world will become a beautiful place. Fine. So that is it. So that is why the poet says that perhaps a huge silence will be there. And when we will be on the silent mode, then what will happen? That might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves. And you know, when we will be meditating, when we all will be quiet, na, the different thoughts that will be going in our mind, then we will realize what? That will interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves. When we will be quietly sitting, then that time we would realize that we have simply wasted the whole time. We have never ever tried to understand ourselves. And very important thing is that first we are supposed to understand ourselves, then only we'll be able to understand others' sufferings and pain. So the poet says that time only we will realize that we have never tried to understand ourselves, and of threatening ourselves with the death. And of threatening ourselves with death means obviously, like every person who has taken birth on this earth surface has to meet with his end. Fine. So, but what is happening? We are threatening ourselves that we have to die one day. So we are busy in earning more and more money. So because we want that our kids' future should be secure, we should have good wealth, money, and many things. But now because of corona, you know, we have realized many other different things also. Like money is not so much important. What is important is your health. Fine. First priority is your health. If you are physically fit and healthy, then only you'll be able to enjoy the wealth also. So threatening ourselves with death. So the important thing is that we should not threaten ourselves with death. Death is inevitable. Inevitable means something that cannot be avoided. That has to happen in each and every person's life. So death is something that is inevitable. It cannot be avoided. So why to be threatening ourselves with this point? Because obviously what happened, Aditya, Ananya, Aditya? So like we are supposed to, you know, we are not supposed to be afraid of this death, because death is something that is inevitable. And for example, you have studied Julius Caesar in class 10th, Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare, and he says that cowards die many a time, but valiant only once. So cowards, they die many a times because they are threatened with the death. Like if they'll be doing this, they'll die. If they'll be doing that, they may die. So they will always be under this fear of death. But valiant means the courageous people, the strong people, but brave people. They die only once. They die only once because they are not at all afraid of death. So they are not threatening themselves, right? Now, their last very important passage. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now, which literary device is there in the first line? The perhaps the earth can teach us. Who can tell me? Perhaps the earth can teach us. Which literary device is there? Yes, Yash Saxena. Yes, Yash, tell me which literary. Okay, personification. Okay, can you explain like how is it personification?
Because Earth is a non-living thing and it is personified as a human who can teach us. like when everything seems dead, rather it's alive and all.
Right, right, right. Very good. See, Earth, you can see E is capital, right? So Earth has been personified, as you all know. Like Earth is non-living, fine. Earth has been personified as a teacher. As a teacher teaches in the same manner, the poet says, perhaps it is possible. Perhaps it is possible that the Earth can also teach us. For example, these days, what we are observing, the Earth is teaching us. We are sitting inside our homes. This is also the time when the earth is teaching us, it is guiding us that please control your activities, don't harm me too much, otherwise I would harm you. So, and this is what we are observing also, fine. So the literary device in this line is personification, and earth has been personified as a teacher, treated as a teacher. Now perhaps the earth can teach us. Now what earth can teach us? As when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive, means, like for example, as you all have observed also, like on this earth surface, two different activities keep on happening. For example, on one side the birth is taking place, the kids are taking birth, and on the other side the death is taking place, because the earth has to maintain its balance also. Many a times you have observed the natural calamities happens, and in a one natural calamities, n number of people, they lose their life. For example, like in the incident of Kedarnath, you may have seen it, the movie, it is very clear that n number of people, they lost their life in one natural calamity. So this is the way of taking revenge from the side of this earth. So earth is teaching us this lesson, that please don't create so many problems for me, otherwise I have to take the revenge also. So now one side the birth is taking place, and on the other side the death is taking place. Kids are taking birth on this earth surface, many people are dying also. So in this manner, what is happening? It is maintaining its balance. So everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. And here you can quote the examples also. For example, like different seasons are there. For example, like summer, winter, autumn and spring. So in the season of autumn, like the trees, they shed their leaves. Fine, the leaves, they turn to yellow, pale yellow, and they are the trees, they shed their leaves, flowers and the fruits also. But when the season of spring comes, everywhere there is beauty and bounty. The trees are fully loaded with the flowers, fruits and the leaves, fine, because that is the season of bounty. Everywhere the trees are loaded with the things, so it later proves to be alive. So here you can quote this example, like in the season of autumn, the trees shed their leaves. And so this is like the things are going away from this earth. And then in the season of spring also, the new leaves, they comes out, new flowers are coming out, new fruits are also. So this is the process. And at the same time, one more example that you have I have told you, that is the death and the birth. That is also the balance. And here also the leaves are going, and then the new leaves are coming on the trees. So this is also another example. One more example also. This example is something that is mythological. It is based on a myth. Fine. It's not reality. It is in the imagination, and this idea has been taken in some of the movies also, cartoon movies also. Fine. So now, what is the character? The character is Phoenix. Phoenix. Phoenix is a bird. It is a mythological. Fine. It's not in reality. Fine. So it is said, like about this creature, about this bird, that when Phoenix bird, it dies, na, like automatically it burns itself, and from its ashes, from its ashes, a new bird is births taking place. That is, the new Phoenix bird is taking birth from the ash of the previous one, right? This you can like how the earth is able to maintain the balance. I can see the students have raised the questions. They have raised the thumbs up sign. This means they know this thing. Now, once again, now I'll be counting up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Now the poet is again saying those lines which he has spoken in the beginning, like I'll be counting up to 12. I'll once again count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go, because I have already given you the message, the mantra of life, like what you people are supposed to do. The what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to be in the position of meditation, and then first you are supposed to understand yourself. That is self introspection. Just check yourself whether you are on the right track or not, what you are doing is actually right or not. And then when you have understood yourself, then what will happen? You will be able to understand other human beings. So that will help in developing mutual understanding. And when we are able to understand the other's sufferings and the other's problem, then obviously the earth will become a beautiful place. So many examples you have seen, like during this time of quarantine, you all have witnessed. For example, Sonu Sood, what he has done for n number of, people, and he helped them by giving money also from his own side. He has helped them to reach to their respective destinations, to their respective villages also. And number of people have donated so much of money. So this is the way of mutual understanding, that is understanding the problems of other human beings, right? So this is the message or the theme of this poem. Now let us discuss the questions also. If you have any query, you can ask, fine. And after that, I will start with the another poem. So what will counting up to 12 and keeping still help us achieve? What this will help us achieve? Yes, who will answer? Raise your hands. Kunal is interested. Yes, Kunal, speak up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kunal. Question number first. What will counting up to 12 and keeping still help us achieve?
Ma'am, it will help us achieve it will help us achieve the peace. It will maintain the peace in the world, um, and as there will be no wars, the survivors will enjoy the victory and
Simply what you are supposed to
peace.
write is, wait a minute. Counting up to 12 and keeping still help us achieve what? It will help us in achieving self-introspection first. We'll try to understand ourselves. And when we have understood ourselves, then it will help us achieving what? Mutual understanding among human beings. Only this you have to explain. Simple. Very simple. First is self-introspection and then mutual understanding. Do you think poet advocates a total inactivity and death? Do you think the poet is supporting total inactivity and death? Anybody wants to answer? You can raise your hand. Okay, fine, very good. Nobody is interested. Fine, see, does the poet support total inactivity? No, the poet is not at all advocating, the poet is not supporting, total inactivity and death. The poet says that we should be, instead of doing destructive activities, we should sit idle. We should not involve ourselves in destructive activities. So the poet is not at all supporting the inactivity or death, because death is inevitable. Death has to come. And inactivity also he is not supporting. He means to say that we should not involve ourselves in the activities which are leading to death. We should involve ourselves in the activities which will help us in achieving something constructive. Fine. And what is the sadness that the poet refers to in the poem? Very easy. The sadness of never understanding ourselves. And if we have not understood ourselves, then obviously there is no point in understanding others also. Fine. This is give and take. Next is, what symbol from nature does the poet invoke to say that them can be life under apparent stillness, that there can be life under apparent stillness. So I've already given you examples, the symbols from nature, like from the earth's surface, the trees, they shed their leaves and new leaves comes. Another example is of phoenix bird, also I've already given. So these are the two examples out of these two. And the births, they are taking place on this earth's surface, and on side by side, the death is also taking place, right? So you can quote any of these examples. So these are the 4 questions that are there. And one more question also that can be there, like what are the literary devices? So literary devices, very important. Huge pun is there. Then arms pun is there. So this is also very, very important that you must note down, which I have already told you. And one very important literary device, that is personification in this line. Perhaps the earth can teach us. So personification. So three very important literary devices are there: pun and this personification, right? So now let us take the another poem, that is A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Find the next poem, poem 4. A Thing of Beauty is a joy forever. It's a very, very beautiful poem by John Keats. You know, through this poem, A Thing of Beauty is a joy forever. The poet means to say that if any beautiful thing is there in our life, any beautiful thing does not mean that, for example, somebody whose face is very beautiful. It does not mean that. A thing of beauty means somebody who is there in our life that is giving us the happiness, you know, that is. And a thing of beauty is a joy forever. And we are getting the everlasting joy from that particular thing, from that particular person in our life. For example, our parents, here you can give the example. For the children, the parents are the source of inspiration. They are always supporting them, giving them the happiness. For the parents, their kids are there. Or, for example, the husband and the wife and the husband, so vice versa, this way. So the poet says, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It is always giving us the happiness. Now, John Keats was a British romantic poet, although trained to be a surgeon, you know. Keats decided to devote himself wholly to poetry. You know, in the beginning, he decided that he would become a surgeon, but as he was, you know, continuing his profession, he realized that this is not his aim of life, you know. So he switched on to poetry, writing poetry. And then Keats' secret, his power to stay and delight the readers, lie primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations in terms of language, you know. Like whatever he writes, he's always thinking that whatever he's writing, that would definitely give happiness to his readers. The following is an excerpt from his poem Endymion, a poetic romance. The poem is based on a Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmos, had a vision of Cynthia. Now, what is it? Who is Mount Latmos? Who is Cynthia? You people are thinking like it is everything is going above your head. Now, the point is, this poem is based on a Greek legend, and it's based on a legendary story in which Endymion, now the important character is Endymion. Endymion is a young shepherd. Shepherd is a person who is taking care of the sheep, you know. So now Endymion, a young, beautiful shepherd, and he was also the poet also, who lived on Mount Latmos. So now what is the point? The poet is imagining himself as a shepherd, as a young shepherd, and the name of the shepherd is Endymion, and he lived on Mount Latmos. There is a mountain, and the name of the mountain is Latmos. So he lived on the Mount Latmos and had a vision of Cynthia. And who is Cynthia? Cynthia is a moon goddess, right? So the moon goddess and the enchanted youth resolved to seek her out. The enchanted youth here refers to Endymion, the young shepherd, and the poet is imagining himself as a young shepherd. So he fall in love with Cynthia, the moon goddess. And you know, like always when a person falls in love with somebody or someone, that obviously it so happened that you know, some changes starts coming in the person's mind. So that is what is happening with this young shepherd. So in order to seek her, seek means to get her in his life. What he was doing, this enchanted youth resolved to seek her out, and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. So he was roaming around wherever. He thought that it is easy to get her. Moon goddess obviously would be found on the, especially during the time of the night and on the sky. How can it be possible? So he went mad, and he was searching for this moon goddess. Where? In the forest. Obviously not easy. Then he was trying to find her in the seas also. Like, so that is not at all possible. So this poem, very important thing that you must remember, this poem is based on a myth, a story. Fine. What is the story? The Endymion, there is a character, Endymion, who was a shepherd and who fell in love with the moon goddess. That is, the name of the goddess is Cynthia. Endymion fell in love with Cynthia. He wanted to get her in his life. For finding her, for getting her, he was roaming around in the forest, under the into the seas, and then he was not able to get her. So that is the story. Now, what pleasure does a beautiful thing give us, and are beautiful things worth treasuring? We treasure, we keep so many beautiful things, and many times it so happens that we are not looking, taking out the things once again, and looking such things also, because we are too much busy in our lives. And one more line also beautifully, that is written by William Shakespeare, that is, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Beholder means the person who is looking. So like if the person sees that this thing is beautiful for him, that appears to be beautiful for him, but it is not at all like it is. It will be same for every person. For example, for a mother, her child is beautiful, and for the child, her mother is the most beautiful woman in this world. So this happens. Now the explanation of this poem. A thing of a beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. For example, when the mother is, loving his or her kid, fine, and the mother, the love keeps on increasing. It's not like that, like, for example, the mother has loved the child today. It's not like that she won't be loving the child for the years to come. The love and the affection for the child keeps on increasing. So a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Joy forever means it is an eternal joy, everlasting joy. It's never ever going to end, right? So a thing of beauty is always giving everlasting joy. Its loveliness increases. It will keep on increasing. Its loveliness, the beauty it has, it will keep on increasing. It is never ever going to end. It will never pass into nothingness. It will never pass into nothingness means, will it be possible that any beautiful thing that is there, will it ever come to an end? Like death is there. Apart from death, nothing can, destroy or mar the beauty of a particular thing. As you have read the poem, like My Mother at 66, in that poem, the mother is, the daughter and the mother, they are driving in the car, and the daughter is able to see that the wrinkles are there on the face. So that is because of the age. We cannot stop that. It is a natural phenomena. And related to this, you have read a poem also by William Shakespeare, The Seven Ages. First is of an infant, then a small baby infant, not interested to go to school, walking like a snail. Then there is a young boy, fine, youth, you can say, falling in love. And then there is a person who is, busy in his career like a soldier. Then a middle-aged man who is not bothered about his appearance. And then the aged person who's without the teeth, without the sense of hearing, and without the sense of, everything. Like he loses the teeth also, sense of taste also, fine. And the last is death. Death is inevitable. So now the poet says that it will never pass into nothingness, means it will never ever end. The love and affection for that particular beautiful thing which is in our life, that will keeps on increasing, but will keep a bower quiet for us. Now, what is a bower? Bower means a shady place, a place that is comfortable. For example, you can imagine, like during the summers when we are walking on the roadside, if we are walking, if I'm using, because we are not walking these days, we are driving in the vehicles. So for example, during the summers, if we are walking on the roadside and if we see a tree, fine, if we see a tree, then we want to sit under that tree, and that is like a bower. Bower means a shady place, a comfortable place, because that is protecting us against the direct sunlight. Fine. So in the same manner, the poet says that that will keep a bower quiet for us, means a beautiful thing is just like a bower, means it is always a shady place. It is always a comfortable place, giving us the comfort, giving us the happiness, fine, and a sleep full of sweet dreams. Now just keep on noting down in your copies also, what are the beautiful things that we are getting from the from a beautiful person in our life, from a nice person in our life, from a beautiful thing in our life, fine. So what are the things that we are getting? First is sweet. First, we are getting the shady place from that beautiful things. That is the comfort we are getting. Then a sleep full of sweet dreams. For example, when we see a beautiful thing, and when we are about to sleep, at that time, if we see a beautiful, thing in our life, then obviously we'll have a sound sleep. For example, a baby, a small baby in the house. So if we see that, small baby doing naughty things and something like that, so that is giving us the happiness. And when we sleep, our mind is full of the thoughts of that beautiful baby. So that gives us the happiness, and we'll have a sound sleep also. And for example, if as we are about to sleep, and before that if we see some horror movie or something like that, then such thoughts keep coming in our mind, and we are not able to have a sound sleep. So this is the difference of a beautiful and the nice things in our life, the importance of the nice things. So we'll have a sleep full of sweet dreams and health. Health means we'll have a good health also. We'll be healthy also, because we are always getting happiness from that particular thing or from that particular person. And quite breathing, and our breathing will also be normal. Otherwise there will be upheavals of the heartbeat will be up and down. There is great up and down in the heartbeat. So the beautiful thing that will give us quiet breathing, the breathing will be normal, it will be at the normal state. And so the poet says, now these are the rewards which we'll be getting because of the beautiful thing in our life. That is, we'll have the comfort, we'll be having the sleep full of sweet dreams, then our health will be good, and there will be no blood pressure, no BP, no up and down will be there, only quiet breathing will be there. Now the poet says, like therefore on every morrow. Now what is the meaning of this word morrow? Morrow refers to two meanings. Morrow, that is tomorrow, that is the next day, and morrow refers to the next day morning also. So therefore on every morrow, morrow means, I'm telling you once again, morrow means tomorrow, and morrow also means the next morning. So therefore on every morning, what we are doing, are we reading? Reading means what? Reading means entwisting. Entwisting means what? Entwisting, for example, the climbers, climbers, what they are, for example, money plant, what it is doing, like it is climbing, it is encircling against the, the support that we are providing in that particular, that we are providing to that particular plant. For example, a stick, So now this money plant, it starts moving, encircling or entwisting in the same manner around that particular stick, and slowly and slowly it is able to rise up. In the same manner, for example, you all have seen the garland. Garland, what is there? Like the flowers are there, and they are, entwisted into a thread by using needle and thread. So that is the garland. So the poet says, therefore, on every morning, morning is also a symbol of hope. Morning is a symbol of hope also. So the poet says that on every morning we are full of hope and happiness. So what we are doing, we are reading, we are entwisting, we are binding what? A flowery band to bind us to the earth. We are making a flowery band. A flowery band means a garland, right? So we are making a flowery band that is binding us to the earth, that is making our connection, that is making our bonding very stronger to this earth surface. Very important example I'm going to give here, that then you'll be able to understand. For example, like for a person, what are the things that are giving the happiness? Why he feels like I should do more and more, I should earn more money, I should do this, I should do that. Why? Because he's getting the inspiration from his family members, from his wife, from his kids also, right? And so that is these are the flowers in a person's life. Why there are so many people, they commit suicide, as we have seen in the newspapers, as we see. For example, many people, they commit suicide. Why so? For example, recently we have witnessed the example of Sushant. Why? Because they believe that there is nothing left in their life. Instead of having so many things in their life, they believe that there is nobody in their life to, very important thing. Like, it's not the materialistic things that the poet wants to convey here. It is not at all the materialistic things that are going to give us the happiness. We cannot talk to the the with the cars, we cannot talk with the television, we cannot talk to the things that we have, we cannot talk to the gold chains which we are wearing. We can talk to the persons in our life. We can share our problems and sufferings, and whatever the we are feeling, we can share with the person. And then the person, if the person is our well wisher, then definitely the person will give us a solution and will be able to come out of those problems very easily. So the poet says that these are the solutions that we are getting from a beautiful things. So once again, this line, the poet says that on every morning, morning is a symbol of hope. So on every morning, what we are doing, we are binding, we are making our bonding very strong to the earth surface. By because we have the flowery band. Flowery band, the different flowers are there, right? In the same manner, one flower represents one person in our life, second flower the another person in our life. For example, our parents, for example, our kids are there, for example, some important friends also who are highly supportive to us. For example, it could be anyone, fine. So because of them, what we are getting the motivation, we are getting the boosting to live life instead of so many struggles, hurdles, obstacles, right? Is this point clear to all of you? So now a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence. Now spite, this word, the full word is in spite of. Spite of, here just write it down. It is in spite of despondence. Now despondence means dejection. Dejection means what? Dejection means rejection. It's not at all possible that every person would love you, would like you. It's not necessary, and it's not possible also, to love each and every person, to be the well-wisher of each and every person. It's not possible also. One person cannot make every person happy. And so that is why we have to face rejections in our life. And rejection does not mean the end of life. Rejection means that something better is waiting for us. I've already given the example of Amitabh Bachchan many a times in the class. When he started his career in Akashvani, he was rejected from there because of his voice. He was said that your voice is very throaty, very loud. It's rough also. So that is why you are not the person. We cannot hire you. And then he was rejected from there. So if he had taken that rejection forever in his heart, and if he did not try, if he won't have tried, then obviously we would not have seen Amitabh Bachchan today, what he is doing at this age also. Many of his, many of his friends, those who were of same age, they have died, and some are not working also. He is the one who is still working at this age. So he has faced rejection, dejection, and then he did not stop. He was continuously working, and now we have seen also. So the poet says that spite of despondence means in spite of dejection, in spite of rejection, of the inhuman dearth of noble natures. Dearth means lack of noble natures. So inhuman dearth of noble natures. Noble nature means what? Like, for example, lack of moral values in the society. We can see that there is the dearth, there is the lack of moral values in the society. And it is happening also. So it happened in the past also. You can see like the epics also. There are also the scenes of such a thing happening, the lack of moral values. Of the gloomy days. Gloomy means the days are full of sorrow and sadness. Of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways, of all the unhealthy. It's not necessary that we'll always be fit and fine. It's not necessary that we'll always be healthy. Some or the other problem keeps coming, fine. So unhealthy days may be there. We may fall sick, fine. So of all the unhealthy over darkened ways. Over darkened ways does not mean that the clouds are there. The clouds have covered the sky and because of that it is darkness. No. Over darkened ways means sometimes it is possible that whatever we are trying to achieve, it's not possible that we'll be able to achieve that. And it is also said by Harivansh Rai Bachchan, there are two beautiful lines that what we want to achieve, if it is not happening, it is, there is the God's Almighty's wish, because he wants that we should be blessed with something higher, something more than what we are, what we want to achieve. So that is why that thing does not happen. That is, that is stopping for a while, and later on we are able to achieve something higher than what we try to achieve. So now, of the gloomy days, of the unhealthy and over darkened ways. Over darkened ways means the days full of darkness, when whatever we try to achieve, we are not able to achieve that. So we'll continue from here.